All right, guys, so this is going to be how we use our outline to convert information that we have in it into a paragraph form. We are going to be using some math symbols today. What you're going to produce isn't going to be the most beautiful writing in the world, but it is enough to get your first draft structured, so you are able to go back through it and add in the nice kind of literary touches that make an essay really sing. But this does the majority of the work for you, with the assumption that you have done the work on your outline. So we're looking at the outline that I have used as an example before. This is the Thomas Jefferson outline. And I'm using it because it actually has pretty good, clear use of the hierarchy of an outline, right? So we have a Roman numeral, capital letter, a standard number, and then a parentheses, lowercase, and then double parentheses number right there. So we're seeing that we actually have 5 levels right here. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use a little formula in order to make myself a paragraph. And the easiest way for me to do this, instead of going back and forth, is actually to use something in Chrome called a split tab view. So with this tab open, I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to click on I'm going to right click on the other tab over here, and now you'll see this little tab. And then we'll get this menu right here when we right click and add tab to new split view. Bam. All right, now I can see both tabs open right next to each other. You can also do this by making 2 different windows, but this saves some space. You can also grab the middle here and kind of make one skinnier or wider. This is very helpful. So I recommend trying to get your head around using that. So I mentioned math. Let's talk about this structure that I have over here. Actually, make this a or minus right there. So right here, we see the same levels that we normally have in an outline. We have our Roman numeral, a capital letter, number, etc., etc. Assigned to that, we also have something that should look familiar. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And we're using this to essentially order the information specificity that we have in our outline over here. And what we can do is we can kind of sub in some of these symbols to screw things together. So let's see how we're going to do that. Well, up here we have our Roman numeral, which is our exponent right here, which is our big bad guy, right? I'm going to use that just to say that that's going to be the title of my section here. Not every section gets a title, but this one gets a title, and we're pulling it from Roman numeral number 1 over here. So this says Barbary Wars right there. This is our little power 2 right there, Barbary Wars. Good, got that. Next up, we have parentheses. Parentheses in essay writing is just, this is going to be our thesis or the thing that's starting our main idea. So what do we have in parentheses from here? We have background of the conflict. A background of the conflict. So I'm going to write that, background of the conflict. There we go. Which is going to be our first sentence. And then after that, what do we have? We have multiplication. We are using multiplication to talk about our most important points, which are going to be these numerical details. So we're going to multiply our background conflict line right here, oops, by this next line that says pirates from North Africa attacked American ships, trying to trade in the Med Sea. Cool. And we can also just kind of keep going straight down there. Let's multiply it by another strong point, and that's going to be our number 2. The U.S. did not want to pay tribute, aka bribe. The U.S. did not want to pay tribute, aka bribe. Cool. So we have the section title, which is our most powerful thing. We have our thesis idea, which is in parentheses. We'll come back to this. And then we're multiplying by our 2 points here. Now from here, let's see the other things that we have along the way. Well, we have a plus sign for this one. So under this line, I'm going to do plus. Right. And I'm going to write down Libya, oops, Algeria, and Tunisia were some of the countries involved. And then finally, we have this little ... And a ... all the way at this end. This is one of our kind of supporting details. We can say it's extending the point before it. So we're going to say Algeria, Algiers. I keep on misspelling this, sorry. Algiers is the capital of Algeria. Cool. So there's our formula for that little paragraph. And then we come down here and we're going to add our next line right here, which is refusal to pay. Ba, 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 ba. So we're going to add this guy right here. Cool. Sweet. So this is good so far. We've turned this into a math equation. Now, how do we actually turn this into a paragraph? Well, we're going to use something that is in your Google Classroom. So if we go to Classroom and we go to right here and we scroll on down to STRP First Draft, we're going to see something right here that says Outline to Essay Strategies. Let's click on that. Now, we have things that correspond to all of the same levels that we have over here. We have evidence stems, right? So this might be something that adds something in a sequence. We have emphasis words. These are great to start off our sentences that are multipliers. We have addition words. These are great to start out our sentences that are addition, kind of in that vein right there. Contrast words, obviously that would be for the opposite. And then order words. This would be great for using those ... dots. So let's go through and do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my essay. And where it says background of the conflict, this is our first sentence. So I'm going to get rid of this and just turn it into a sentence. Right? So the background of the, I'm going to put in what conflict we're talking about, Barbary Wars, is important to understand if we are to see why it was something that made Jefferson famous. I don't know, I just added in something extra there, but essentially we're just saying we have to understand the background of the war. Next up, we have a multiplication symbol. Let's find one of our emphasis words. Start with undoubtedly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to replace this with the word undoubtedly. So it should just kind of show up in a second here. Doink. Undoubtedly, comma. And now I'm just going to add that to the sentence before it. Undoubtedly, pirates from North Africa attacked American ships trying to trade in the Mediterranean Sea, period. All right, we have an addition sign after that. Let's find an addition word. Furthermore is a good one. Let's do that. Furthermore. So we're going to replace this with a furthermore, comma. Libya, Algeria, and Tunisia were some of the countries involved. Now we have a ... How do we add something in to a sequence? So we could say something like this. Say first and foremost, before, above all, subsequently. Maybe the right word is there, maybe it isn't. Why don't we say at this time? Because that actually works for history. So at this time, comma, Algiers, and we'll just put a was here to make our tenses agree. Great. Our paragraph is coming together. Next, we have another multiplication. Let's go up to our emphasis words. Clearly is a good one. I like clearly. Makes people feel like, oh yeah, I should have figured that out. All right, clearly, comma. The U.S. did not want to pay tribute, aka a bribe. So finally, let's get one more additional word, or maybe a order word. So as a result is a good one. Addition, right? In addition, something like that. Let's stick with as a result. As a result, here. Yeah, so as a result, comma, refusal to pay would result. Now we can see that these sentences aren't great, but that's okay. Because what we've done is we took our ordered sequence ideas that we had over in our outline, and we converted it into something that is sentence-based that actually follows that same sequence. From here, we can go back through and figure out how to tighten up this paragraph a little bit. So for instance, right here, we have as a result, the refusal to pay would result. That's repetitive. So what's another word for result that we could use here? We could be colloquial and say end up. We could also say something like would cause or produce the capture of American ships and goods, and often the enslavement and the ransoming of the crew. Great. Okay. So what we're doing here essentially is we are taking the information from the outline and we are using these math elements right here to give us directions on what transition words to use. So for your assignment here, what I want you guys to do is start building that first draft using this document. Now, if you scroll down, we have all these words here. If you scroll down, you're going to see these pages, guiding questions, a couple tips to get started. Read this before you get started. This will really, really, really help. Okay? And the other thing to do is start with your body paragraphs. We don't need to worry about intro and conclusion yet because we're going to have a lesson on those. All right, good luck.